Hey, Hannah.
Can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Good. Let me turn off my TV real quick. I was watching my report today. Well, hello.
Well, hello. You were watching your what today?
I was watching, I shot a look live today, so I was just watching it to make
Was
sure.
that with the propane tank?
No, oh my God, that was yesterday. So today there's a brewery that's been, it's opening actually right across the street from my house. So I got like a sneak peek of it last night because I'm buddies with the owner. So we were the only ones that got like a inside look at it.
Oh, cool.
So a little bit softer news today, but I like it there. So it's nice.
That's nice when the news is happening right across the street.
Exactly. I was like, oh, this is great.
Hang on a second. I'm going to pause.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
Good. Glad you came in tonight. Are you an MSP? Are you an MSP major?
Yes.
Yeah. What are you studying? I mean, you're studying MSP, but are you looking to go into TV news?
So I'm not really sure. I'm not sure. I just want to have some kind of knowledge about it because it may be an option. It's not like my priority of what I want to do,
right.
like my top job but I just want to know something about it.
Yeah. Okay, good. No, this is excellent because we're going to teach you tonight. That's great. Glad you came in. Just want to make sure. Hi, Madison. I see you. Emily, hi.
Hi, I didn't realize my video was on.
No, that's okay. Good to see you.
You too.
How's it going for you? What are you doing? What have you been doing?
So I have like an internship. It's I'm a student worker here at for Klein for the COVID TU site for Temple.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I have that going for me.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's coming in. There's old Jake Zebley coming in. Great. Jake.
Hi, Luann.
I was happy to see you coming in tonight.
Happy to be here. I saw it coming through the email. I thought I might as well see what.
Yeah. This is the first of its kind workshop on creating a TV news audition reel. Andrea Berry is our guest tonight, and I know she'll be coming in. I assume she's kind of joining us during her lunch break because she is the 11 o'clock producer, NBC10. Just get everybody in here. How's the job, Jake?
It's going. The weeks are going faster. I must say that. This is going to be about a month, and finally my body is adjusted to all the movements and all the standing, doing about like 15,000 steps a day.
Oh my gosh, really? That's quite a workout.
Amazon does not. It's 30-minute break and 15-minute break, and that's it.
Only for the young and the restless.
There's actually a surprising amount of like older people there. Like there's some people who could like be my parents that are working there right now.
Yeah, it sounds like a good workout. 15,000 steps. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm glad you could come in. I miss seeing you. Haley Jacobs, where are you? Hallie. Is it Hallie or Haley?
It's Hallie.
Hallie. I probably ask you that every time we talk, right?
Everybody does. It's okay. It's been happening since middle school.
Since
So
birth, yes.
yeah. Yeah, for a while.
Okay. I just want to make sure. There we go. Matt Fine. Professor Matt Fine in the house. Cool. Hey everyone, we're going to give it a couple minutes while people come in, and we're still waiting for our guest. One of our guests is here. One of our guests is Professor Matt Fine. Hey, nice to see you. Thanks for spreading the news, telling everyone about this. I was saying Andrea Barry is working tonight. She's the 11 o'clock producer, so I'm assuming she's taking her lunch break with us. But I haven't seen her yet. While we're waiting for everyone to come in, let me just take a little poll. By the way, I'm Luann Khan. I'm the Director of Career Services. I feel like I've met a lot of you, but some of you have not met. Hannah McComsey is joining us from Virginia. Here comes Andrea. Oh, good. Andrea, I know you're in here somewhere. There you are. Hey, Andrea, can you hear or see us?
Hi. Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Can you see me?
No.
No. Okay, hold on. Sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, here we go.
Nope, not yet.
All right, I'm sorry. Let me switch devices. Sorry.
Okay. We've got time. People are still coming in.
Okay.
Anyway, I was about to take a poll while Andrea's figuring out, because we do want to see her. She's figuring out her camera. How many, maybe give me a yes in react, let's see. Maybe give me a thumbs up. How about that in reactions? How many of you are looking or are interested in being on camera as a reporter in TV news? Any thumbs up? Okay, we see a few. Yeah.
I'm not sure how to thumbs up, but this is Hallie.
Oh, okay.
Thumbs up.
If you okay, if you go to your reactions,
Oh, okay. I
there's
see.
a little reactions thing.
Oh, there we are.
Either clap or you can. Okay. All right. How many of you are possibly interested in being a producer? TV news producer. Thumbs up. Give me some thumbs up, okay? Maybe. We got some producers possible here. Okay, good. Okay. How many of you are possibly interested in being a director? Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. So nice. All right, good. That gives me a good idea about who's in the house. Andrea, any luck? No. She's still working on it. Right. Guys, stand by. Once we get started here, feel free to put questions in the chat. We'll definitely have time for questions and comments. I'm sure that Andrea would be more than happy to also talk about what the job market's like right now and any questions you have about getting a job. Hannah McComsey is with us. She is an alum who just graduated a couple years ago from Klein College and is working in Lynchburg, Virginia as a reporter at WSET and just finishing up her first contract. So she's really close to that experience of putting that first reel together. I have to tell you that I've asked a number of Klein alum to share their very first audition reel, and they all went, "Ah, really? You're going to show that?" Because, you know, and everyone feels that way about their very first reel. Like, you know, it shows your potential, but not who you're going to be as a talent in the future. But that's okay. That's part of the purpose of it. You're not a polished, finished product. I want to tell you, as someone who was in TV news for many, many years, I remember my first reel. I remember my second reel. And I remember with angst every single reel that I made during my career. Oh, Andrea's coming back in. Good. And we'll see if we get camera from her. Andrea, any better? No? Andrea, it looks like.
You should be able to see me now, right?
Yes, there she is. Yes.
Sorry.
Are you working from home?
Yes, isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. So let me introduce you properly. I've been talking about Hannah McComsey, who's one of our alum, and talking about, and I just thought, look, this is a good time. Wait, where'd you go? There you go. I was thinking, by the way, everybody turn off your mic for a minute, except for Andrea. I'm gonna have her talk, and Hannah, keep yours open. Andrea is the executive producer of the 11 o'clock. Is that right? You're on the 11. The 11 o'clock NBC10 newscast. Andrea and I worked together, I don't know, but for a few years earlier in your career at NBC10 when I was there as a younger producer, and then she left and went to New York and worked at WABC, right?
Yes, great memory.
And then, but before that, she went to school at the University of Maryland and then went right to work in the DC market at ABC and let's see, where else? Another station in
I started WRC.
WRC, right. And then came to Channel 10 in Philadelphia. She's got a lot of experience, and one of the reasons I wanted to invite her is I wanted you all to have a perspective from somebody who looks at audition reels all the time, who mentors people, who sees those first audition reels, and can give you some idea of what a hiring manager is looking for, even when you're just starting out. So a round of applause for Andrea and for Hannah McComsey for joining us tonight. And especially, I guess you're on your dinner hour. So thanks for being here. Before we get started, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to share my screen real quick with you guys. So here we are. And here are our guests. And I want to know from you, Andrea, what are the 5 things or what are the top things you think should be on a reporter's audition reel, a producer's audition reel, a director's audition reel?
Okay. So for all of them, I would like to see breaking news. That's one of the big things. We want to know how you can handle yourself when things are unscripted and you have to think on your feet and gathering information on a late breaking story. I feel like breaking news is when you really realize who some of the great reporters are, who can turn a story quickly and accurately and still keep their composure. It's not easy. Luann is one of the best. But that's also important, as a producer. It's one thing if you have all day, you put together your rundown and you're like, oh, I love the way the script is written. I love this beautiful setup I did. But then stuff's going to hit the fan at some point. You're going to have to just throw your rundown out the window. And it's really interesting to see what you can do when you're just flying by the seat of your pants. The rundown is really not in the computer. It's not on paper. It's all up here to see what you can do with that. And same thing for the director. You have to be able to think on the fly. During breaking news, you're the one who's really calling the shots to try to make sure that whatever you're unplanned is clean on air, that you're not seeing a lot of technical mistakes. Sometimes the producer might say, oh, look, there's a press conference here. Let's take that as soon as we can. And so you have to kind of, adjust very quickly. Breaking news control room can be a very frantic place. But it's, you want to see how you can handle yourself with that.
And would you say, is it hard? I mean, because it's hard when you're a beginning reporter or producer director and you're working at a college newscast, you might not get a lot of opportunities to do breaking news. So if you don't have that, what else do you want to see?
Well, I think, breaking news doesn't always have to be like a huge, police shooting or something. I do think that there are other kind of breaking stories that are happening in the Philadelphia area that kind of are accessible to college students. For instance, election night. We're a couple, few months away. If you're, hey, here I am at the polls, here's what there are lines or there are not lines, or so-and-so just conceded here, this is what we're doing, this is what we're seeing happen in the presidential race or Senate race or whatever race you're doing. All of these things are stories that you can't really pre-write or totally prepare for. So I feel like, that's still an example of what you can do that's unscripted. Some of the protests and unrest that we've seen recently here, that's another really good example of breaking news. Of course, the priority is that you're safe, not putting yourself at risk to get the story. But these are also things that are happening in the area right now. But one of the things that I'm really looking for in reporter reels is storytelling and writing. They go hand in hand. I think it's really easy and same with producing, it's really easy to fall into the trap of just using official speak. So for instance, if I get a story, if the police tell us, hey, the perpetrator was apprehended on the 5500 block of Locust Street. If you go out there and you just say that, and the police say the perpetrator was apprehended in the 5500 block of Locust Street, that's not how people talk. What does that actually mean? It means police arrested the suspect at 55th and Locust. You want to be more conversational in your writing. You don't want to just be regurgitating facts. So writing is really key for producers as well. How are you setting up the reporters when you are talking to them out in the field? And for producers, writing teases. Honestly, tease writing is might be one of the most important jobs of a producer. How are you setting up the top of your show to draw people in and to get them to stick around? Because you have to be able to keep the audience's attention long enough for us to get to the reporter. So those are two things that I'm really looking for.
Hey, Andrea, is anyone else having trouble with her audio? Yeah.
Oh,
So-
you are? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
well, I'm going to let you work on that a little bit, and I want to get to I want to show you all some reels, and then we're going to start with Hannah's in a minute. And Hannah, I'm going to make you a co-host here in just a second. Hang on. Gotta find you. There she is. Hey, Hannah.
Is
that better?
is this any better?
It's really noisy. I don't know. Sounds like, no, it's not. It's just hard. It's hard to hear you. Like there's feedback. Oh, that was better. Oh no, now we lost her altogether. We lost her audio.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh no, that's okay. It's good enough. But wait, well, let me do this. I want to share my screen with you and talk about, and Andrea, I'd love you mentioned some of these. If you're a reporter, there's a certain format to putting a reel together. And Andrea, you'll have to let me know if you feel like this is still what you all look for. And open
Absolutely.
a headshot and contact info is that, so they know how to reach you. A montage of stand-ups, 3 to 5 packages showing versatility, your writing, your presence, your storytelling skills. I personally feel like if someone's not interested in 3 packages, 5 packages isn't going to help. I don't know. What do you think, Andrea?
Yeah, I feel like, if you get to the best packages should be the first ones.
Yep.
Because otherwise, I'm not going to get to the other ones. And honestly, news directors, honestly, they will look at your reel for 30 seconds at a time. that montage isn't on point, they might not even get to the packages, believe it or not.
Right. So that montage is really, really important. We're going to show you some good examples of that. Hannah's going to show her first reel, and then she'll show you a reel that she's working on right now. Creativity, I think, is important. It's something extra, something special. And it's hard to say what that something extra is, but you got to pop. When Andrea says that news directors look at your reel for about 30 seconds, they got to see something that kind of grabs them, that makes you stand out. And sometimes it's hard to explain what that thing is. It might be different for each of you. All right, so I'm going to get out of this. Well, I'm going to try to get out of this. Okay, Hannah McComsey. So I was with Hannah when she was putting her first reel together back in the day, all of 2 years ago. And I'm gonna let you share your screen and show your reel. We could talk about it.
Yeah, sure. So I'll share my screen and show you guys the reel that I had when I was applying to jobs 2 years ago, right out of school, with just a few internships under my belt and just a little bit of experience at Temple. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, can you guys see?
Not yet.
Okay.
There we go.
How about now?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'll just, and how long? I mean, this is 7 minutes. Do you want to?
Yeah, well, let's just let it roll through the montage and maybe a little of the first package.
Okay. I'm going to cringe the whole time, but here we go.
Police are looking for 2 men who allegedly forced a woman into their car and sexually assaulted her. Now, this all happened right behind me on the pier of Nakamixon State Park. The recent increase in gas prices has some shoppers thinking twice before heading out to get those Black Friday deals. In 2010, when the World Cup came to South Africa, many people were relocated to informal settlements, such as this one. They were told it would be temporary, but some people have been here for over 8 years. And I asked Hardiman who his biggest influence was, and he said his mother, who pushed him to get an education from the time he was a young child. This is a 4-week-old squirrel that was brought to the center after falling out of a tree. Now, I just learned how to feed it a few minutes ago. One fan dedicated his entire holiday display to the Philadelphia Eagles. Check this out. He told us there are over 10,000 lights in this entire display. Police say a 52-year-old woman and her 28-year-old son were both shot just as they were exiting their apartment behind on the corner of 4th and Roosevelt Boulevard. Now, police say although there's still an ongoing investigation, they can tell us that both victims were taken to Temple Hospital and are in stable condition.
This place is like a concentration camp.
This is Blickestorp, a temporary relocation area about 20 miles outside of Cape Town. Blickestorp means Tin Town, a name that came from these one-room structures. In 2010, when the World Cup came to South Africa, many people were located to informal settlements, such as this one. They were told it would be temporary, but some people have been here for over 8 years.
Okay, Hannah.
There have been new information
While we pause this and come out of this for a minute and talk about what we just said.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So, Andrea, were you able to see that?
Yes, and do I sound better now?
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay, headphones for the win. All right. Yeah, that was a fantastic reel. That was
I'm sorry, Hannah.
Okay over there, indicator?
Hello?
Yeah, our youngest dog.
Okay, we're good now. Okay. No, no.
Yeah, that was a fantastic reel. I mean, it immediately caught my attention, especially for that to be somebody's reel coming out of college. I mean, that is years ahead of what you would expect. I thought the stand-up, the montage at the top really got my attention because you saw that every single stand-up had some sort of movement or creativity to it. And that's something that we're really looking for, not just, have the camera static and not moving and all, but even if you don't have somebody who can help you shoot, you can also do kind of multi-part stand-ups, so you can edit the stand-ups together. And I think, is that what you did with the squirrel?
I laughed because Luann was there and she took me to a story to shoot that, and she just watched as I did it. So yeah, she stood there.
I shot that one. I shot the squirrel.
Great job. Fantastic. But that one, I mean, that was a reel that would really get your attention, and there was like a wide variety of different stories in there. Everything that you would do as a GA, a general assignment reporter, which is probably what you're going to be hired for if you're looking to get into TV news.
Yeah, I mean, I know Hannah's cringing. I'm going to let her show her newest audition reel. But I mean, she had the advantage of working for TUTV, so material from TUTV. She went to South Africa for Go and did stories that she basically produced, created. She did an internship with Fox. Did you have something from NBC10 on there too?
Oh, I saw some NBC10 mic flags.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, there's a lot. There was a lot. Right, but at every internship, she shadowed a reporter, she created her own, and that montage just pulls you in, and that was a reel that got a lot of attention in some decent sized markets.
Yeah.
So Hannah had some choices, and a lot of people calling to say, would you come to work? And we're going to show you some other reels. But yeah, I mean, it's a formula. I graduated college in 1978 and we were shooting film, but the formula on these reels, believe it or not, it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
You need to pull somebody in with your presence. They know you're not going to be fully formed. Don't expect perfection, but they want to see what your potential is. Hannah, you want to show us your new reel?
Yeah, I can just do the montage part because this one I think is like 8 minutes, and I know we have a bunch of other people's to get to. So sure. Let's see. Can you see the screen, Luann?
Yep.
Okay.
So everybody, this is what happens after 2 years.
This virus is so contagious and so deadly. Center of restricted visitation for patients' family members. This isn't standstill water. This isn't a little puddle or even water that you could drive through. This is water coming out of the Dan River. I don't know if you can see down there, but it's moving very fast. There's still more damage we're going to show you on Sky 13. This whole block has been devastated by that storm, starting right here with land animals and ending up at the final destination after Hurricane Dorian came through. Just take a look at what's left. These used to be big homes right along the ocean. It's still very active. If you take a look behind me, this is the RV that police have spent some time looking into throughout the day. I'm told it happened very fast. The homeowner says she was doing laundry right here on the first floor. You can see the glass to that door is knocked out. There's still a way you can vote from the safety of your own car. It's called curbside voting. All you do is pull up to your polling location. Traditionally, Memorial Day weekend is the start of the summer travel season. That comes with an increase in traffic. The person inside was using a heater to stay warm. Thankfully, she's okay, but take a look at this damage. You can see everything is gone. It's calm now.
And then that is the end of the montage, Luann.
Okay. So again, it's a great example. I mean, I don't know. How long should a montage be, you think, Andrea? I think you had me at a minute. You could have probably gone to the packages at that point.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they were so active, it didn't feel like it was dragging on for me. So that was fine for me. But I think it's more about the content of them. But yeah, a minute is good. Look, I looked at that montage, and from the get-go, it was like, oh, okay, this is somebody who knows how to do a live shot, knows how to do a stand-up.
Right. And so again, I know some of your internships have been canceled. And it's going to be a bumpy ride here for now, but the truth is the tools are in your hands too. I mean, Hannah's working out of her apartment. Yep. Andrea's working out of her home. Everybody's shooting themselves like this. There are things that you can do right now, working on your reels and getting your reels together.
And Luann, just really quickly, 2 or 3 of those stand-ups in the reel that I'm working on now, I shot with my iPhone. So you don't need, fancy equipment or, top of the line cameras. I mean, if you just have a friend, like shoot something for you, and then if you point that way and just have them tilt it and show something like that, I think that's a really nice way to maybe add some active in an otherwise situation where you might not be able to.
Right.
And one of the things that I've noticed in some reels that I've critiqued lately is that some people are showcasing their social media work. So I've seen reels that include people doing Facebook Lives from the scene of some breaking news, or might be some some digital posts that they did, at the end of the reel or at the end of the montage, so that they can showcase the fact that they are multi-platform journalists, and that's something that we're really looking for. So that's something that I'm sure you guys all really excel in, since Generation Z, like you grew up with this technology.
Andrea,
So you set to your advantage.
Reel? Do you want to see that?
I loved seeing that in a reel. I've only seen that in a couple of reels. I critique at the National Association of Black Journalists convention. Usually every year there's there's thousands of people there, and so you do lots and lots of critiques. But I saw that at maybe 2 in 2 reels there, and that really got my attention. And I thought that was really creative, and I felt like that would really give you a second look, because believe it or not, there are a lot of people, even currently, people in the business who really don't understand social media. I mean, it might seem like second nature, but it's also considered a specialized skill. So if you can showcase that you understand the difference between Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and how to talk to the audiences there, that's a plus, and that's something that maybe news directors aren't necessarily expecting in a reel, but that helps you stand out.
Right. So I want to go on and show you a couple of other examples of reels. Oh, sorry guys, hang on. I'm going to share my screen now with you. And Hannah and Andrea, I'd love your input on this as well. This is John Dowding, who graduated last year and is working in Savannah and sent me his beginning. Oops, well, I didn't mean to do that. Hang on. Let's try that again.
And he's bilingual, and it's good that he showcased that, because that's another important thing. That's another plus to make you stand out.
Yes. Okay. I seem to have lost my all right, well, you know what? We're going to watch Becca Hendrickson, which has, oh wait, maybe I can get this to go back.
If you stop sharing, oh, you're not sharing.
Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Can you guys see this now?
No, not yet.
Oh, you can't see? Okay.
If you share your screen and then maybe hit the back arrow, it should go back to John's.
Yeah, it did, but I got to share my screen. There's my share. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go.
And I'll step out of view so maybe you can see a little bit behind me. There are some more emergency vehicles farther up ahead on the road. Shocking video shows mold on bread, roaches crawling in a salad bar, and bugs cooked into mac and cheese. Por la primera vez en la historia, una 32 millones de personas que pueden votar en las elecciones de este año. In politics today, we're just hours away from a major vote on Capitol Hill. House lawmakers are set to decide whether President Donald Trump will be impeached.
Okay, guys, I'm going to stop this because this is not his, I've got the wrong reel here. This is his current reel. So, but it's the same idea. You know, he's just a year out. I'm going to go to Becca Hendrickson's.
Becca Hendrickson is live. Becca Hendrickson was live. Becca Hendrickson. Becca Hendrickson is live. Becca Hendrickson was live. Becca Hendrickson is live. Becca Hendrickson is live.
Here's what we know right now, and you don't just think about it, but I can tell you that all here for one purpose. You can be assured that this energy is certainly not going to end today. I'm Becca Hendrickson.
Only 23% of registered voters actually showed up to the polls, but those who did voted Democrat in record numbers.
Look at this. I think this is pretty definitive proof that the Pope is an Eagles fan.
While drivers are going to have a newly paved road that they can look forward to, people who actually live on this street are more concerned about that noise. All you need is a penny for one test to see if your car is ready for the cold. Here's what you do. You want to turn the penny upside down and put it in the wear marks of the tire. If you can see the top of Abe Lincoln's head, that means your treads are low and you should consider getting new tires. Grabbing an Indigo bike is easy. All you have to do is follow the directions on the kiosk and then head on over to your bike. When your dock lights up, you're ready to ride. The student protests didn't start today, and they're certainly not going to end today either, but security teams lined up around Sullivan Hall made sure that they weren't allowed in until after the meeting was already over.
We're just having so much fun down here. My producer, Ed Dress, was yelling at me every time I tried to dance, but I'll tell you that him and my photographers, Joe and Ben, were both dancing the entire time. That and the juxtaposition of the stories of those families up on stage, the musical acts, resulted in an atmosphere that can only really be matched by what is to come tomorrow.
I'm going to let
Mayor-elect Jim Kenney is not alone in his
roll
opposition to the stadium. Some Temple students rallied with community members outside the board meeting to protest. But Temple says this discussion is far from over.
It doesn't belong in a residential community. That's the issue.
Ultimately, it's a white supremacist imperialist project. The student protests didn't start today, and they're certainly not going to end today either, but security teams lined up around Sullivan Hall made sure that they weren't allowed in until after the meeting was already over.
I think they heard us, whether they listened or not, but they heard us.
When security teams did allow them in the meeting, they made their protest personal.
It's important for the community and for students to know that I hear them, the temple hears them.
As some groups fight for attention, others are enjoying what could be their last days at the park on the proposed stadium grounds.
This is not the right spot right here. I mean, it's good for Temple's location, but it's not good for the community.
We need everyone to buy in for this university, but the sooner we can get it constructed, if it gets approved, the better off we'll all be.
But these kids playing ball are begging Temple to stay off their court.
I've been playing on this court forever. I don't want it to go away.
Now, the board meeting was not the first time community members have expressed opinions about the stadium. The same group that protested at the trustees meeting organized a public forum Thursday. Opinions ranged from people who said, let Temple do what it wants, to others who called it gentrification.
Okay, so I'm gonna get out of this for a minute. So Andrea was the one who said, that was one of the best reels. She said, get Becca Hendrickson's reel. Becca graduated, went straight to WGAL, which is a really unusual move. I think it's the first time they might have hired someone straight out of college in Lancaster. She is now a community general assignment reporter over at Channel 6. And I know if she decided in a minute that she didn't want to be at Channel 6, I think they'd hire her right across the street right now at Channel 10 over there. We're not across the street anymore. We're at
I know.
I forgot.
Just the live trucks.
But I mean, right after her reel, she puts on a great action-packed story. So Andrea, first you, and then maybe Hannah, your thoughts about, maybe you as a student, you have 3, 4 good stories. Should they be different kinds of stories? I know you talked about breaking news, but what would be a good?
They should be different kinds of stories. I'd like to see range. I think, you want to see a hard news story, and then you also want to see a feature type story, and then I don't know, something different. Unless you're trying to be a political reporter, which you're probably not right out of school. You don't want them all just to look the same. One of the things I remember when Becca showed me this reel, she was a production assistant at NBC10 at the time, and I was like, oh boy, you're not going to go to a small market and you'll be back. And I said, you'll be back in Philadelphia as your second job. And she was back in Philadelphia as her second job. What I liked about that reel was there was a mixture of things that obviously had, a photographer. There might have been a couple of things from the internship, but there were also things that she shot herself. So for instance, when she had the penny in the tire tread, that she did that by herself. It was a multi-part stand-up, and it showed that you're able to be creative and do and have movement to your stand-ups even without having someone there to move the camera for you, which showed, I think, is a skill set that helped her land at 6 ABC, because she's shooting a lot of her stories there too. But it's good to have a really hard news story, a feature type story, just so we can kind of see your range. Because as a general assignment reporter, again, you're going to be covering all sorts of different stories. You're going to cover a different story every day, maybe more than one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe, probably. Hannah, you want to talk about, we know it's not easy to put together a reel. And by the way, if you get into the business, and we'll talk about, I have a producer's reel for you as well, director's reel, to show you what that might look like. It's the bane of our existence to have a reel. because it's hard to watch yourself. We're most critical of ourselves. That is why it's good to have a mentor like Andrea or someone like Hannah or somebody who has been through it, because you're not always, by the way, the best judge of your own work. I hate to say, sometimes something that you thought was brilliant outside of the context of the day that you did it does not look as brilliant on your reel.
Or
something
you
that
thought
you
was
threw
terrible.
away
Yeah.
and thought was nothing. Somebody was like, no, that was fantastic. So you need somebody else to help you with it and give you a different perspective, because sometimes you're not the best judge. Hannah, you want to talk about how you put a reel together? Because we're always doing that. Right?
Yeah. So I think anytime that I go out on any type of breaking news, I always kind of save things in a little folder on my desktop. I'll download it, and then I'll put a reel together, and then I think to myself, okay, well, I like this. Let me try and do better than this the next day, or the next time I go to breaking news. Let me try and do something that I think is, let me show more. Let me point to something specific instead of just being like, oh, take a look at, everything behind me. And then I just keep saving things. And then, I update my reel so much because I feel like throughout the 2 years I've been here, I've grown so much. And even, from college to now, it's a short amount of time, but I'd like to think, when I watch what I did in college and now that I've come such a long way. So I think that and then getting feedback from, people who have been in the business, mentors, colleagues, bosses, things, well, not bosses, but, mentors, to kind of get feedback on what you're doing and what they think that you could be doing better and what they think you're good at. So that's what I've been doing. And, Luann, you've certainly been a great mentor for that. So thank you.
Well, the one thing, you want it to be your very, very best work. And anyone who's looking at it knows you're cherry picking your very, very best. Right. There are good days and there are bad days. You're not going to put on anything where your hair is whatever, or the mic went bad, or, the million other things that could go wrong. The one thing that I think is interesting today is when you get out to your first job, you'll have to tell me if this is, I would think that if someone wants to see the kind of work you're doing, they could just tune into your broadcast and watch what you're doing.
Or ask you to send them what's the story you did yesterday, Hannah? Send me the link to it. Because it's so easy. So that's another thing. It's like every day, despite how tired you might be or how many stories you have, try and give the best effort to every single one. Because the story deserves it, and you also don't know who's watching.
That's true, because I know my boss, he just likes to randomly tune into newscasts in other markets. So,
but you still need the reel. You absolutely have to have the reel. I do want to, because I know we have some producer director types. I am going to share my screen again and show you the reel of Nick Catrona, who, Matt, do you remember Nick Catrona? Did you work with him? How many years ago was that? 5 years ago? Something?
Yeah, I would say 2015, 2016.
Yeah. I actually went and found his original producer reel. He had a whole website here. So are you all seeing this now? So here we go.
Police search for a group that allegedly attacked students on campus. Temple Update has exclusive details.
And Temple gets the green light for the demolition of a local high school.
Temple crew is as strong as ever just a year after being reinstated. Temple Update starts now. Lace up your skates and grab your Valentine. Temple Update skated down to Delworth Park over the weekend.
And early to rise, Update's Marcus Peterson looks at a day in the life of an ROTC cadet.
We will have all the spooky details on Halloween at Temple and how you can stay safe while celebrating around campus.
And Temple took to the streets on their bike in costume and rode all the way to a Philadelphia cemetery.
Plus, families young and old were on the hunt for the Great Pumpkin. We'll have all the details.
Still to come on Temple Update, a hot streak followed by a cold stop. The sports desk's Kylie Winkler will explain.
And more snow could be on its way for the weekend. Tag Houck has your 5-day forecast coming up.
And then he's showing his first block, and we'll just look at this for a second. And then, Andrea, I'd love to hear what you think.
Stalked and shot to death in broad daylight. What Philadelphia police are offering for any information on the suspect.
A trip to Center City turned tragic for one Temple student.
And a day of remembrance that brought thousands of peaceful protesters together and shut down Broad Street. All that now on Temple Update. Hello, I'm Becca Hendrickson.
And I'm Phil DuPont. Police are calling it a planned execution. Now, they're offering a $20,000 reward for information on the suspect seen in this surveillance video.
Okay, so I'm going to stop our share right now. So this is a producer reel. And Andrea, before you came on, a number of students in here, and I'm gonna let you ask questions here in just a minute, guys. But a number of students may be interested in producing. So what are you looking for?
Great. Well, we are looking for producers, period. So
there aren't enough producers.
You guys are, yes, you guys, that is, on a side note, if you guys are looking for producer jobs, that is the quickest way to get a job in this business because there is a shortage of producers. But, you know, looking at that reel, I thought the strongest part was the top of the A block. The writing that we used to set up the headlines, I felt like it drew you in. Also using the strongest video, and also figuring out, you know, how you're going to set up the story. What did he say? The police call it a what did he say?
Oh, I missed it.
I forget what it was. But I thought that the writing was pretty good in setting up the reporter, because that's really the top of the show, and those teases are really what we're looking for when we're looking for producers.
So he started
in fact, actually,
with a series of teases. Would you recommend?
yeah, you know, some people do it differently. I feel like with producer reels, there's some people who just give you a show from, you know, start to finish, and that's the reel, period. But then there are other people who might do like a montage of their teases and stuff. I think for that reel, I think the strongest part was actually the top of his A block. That I probably would have started it with that. But again, you know, some I've seen cold open montages, montages of how people are setting up the top of their show. I've seen, you know, a bunch of montages for teases or montages for how people are setting things up. So I feel like with producer reels, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. I guess.
So you can either send a show, you can send segments of shows, whatever you feel best.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, people who are, you know, there are producers who have different strengths. So if people, I would say to send a reel that showcases your strengths. So if you're a super witty tease writer, then, you know, maybe the top of your show, your reel showcases your amazing teases. Or if you're somebody who does, you know, very pre-produced cold opens, and you set things, your showcasing is really nice, and there could be a montage for that. But of course, you know, the only problem is if you don't show me a full A block. That's the only mistake not to make, because sometimes people will just do the montages and then not show you the A block. But I want to see, you know, not just, oh, the razzle dazzle. I want to see how you put together the rest of your show.
What are the other mistakes you can make in putting together a reel?
Well, for a producer, I mean, you don't want to put together sloppy things. Make sure that make sure you're, you know, everything's spelled right in your reel. You know, make sure. I also do kind of want to see different sorts of shows. Um, you know, there could be a show where the big story is, you know, a hurricane coming. And so it's a theme, you know, you have certain shows that have a theme where all the reporters are doing that. Or you also have shows where it's just like a kind of an ordinary news day. Um, and, uh, and, you know, it's not like all the stories have a theme, but it just shows what you can do on an ordinary day. I can also tell you that if you're really in the running for a job, a news director is going to say, "Here, I want to see your next show. I want to see your next show," or they'll say, "I want to see the show that you produced yesterday." So this reel is just to get you in the door. It's not going to, you know, get you the
Seal the
job sight unseen. Yeah.
Doesn't seal the deal, but it'll get you.
Right, exactly, exactly. There's no pressure like when you know a news director wants to see this show and you're like, oh my gosh, this show better be perfect, this show better be perfect, and you're waiting for everybody on your team to don't make any mistakes. You better make slot, everybody make slot. So
We have some folks here who might want to be directors. I've seen some of our students literally put a camera in front of them while they're directing a show. Is that something you like to see?
that'd be great. And then maybe, you know, so you put that camera there and then maybe superimpose it on the screen so you can see what's actually coming out via program. That's good. I think just like a producer, one of the important parts about being director is your demeanor in the control room. Because the producer and the director, the control room is going to take its cues from you. So if you're somebody who's really stressed out and you're loud and something goes wrong, you're, you know, yelling at somebody else, then your whole control room is going to be chaotic, and that's not helpful. You really want somebody who's going to be calm and going to make a decision. I would say, you know, listen, guys, those of you who want to be producers, you're going to get into if you haven't already in Temple Update, you're going to get into a situation where things are going wrong and you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Well, I can tell you in a situation like that, the only bad decision is no decision, you know? So you want somebody who's decisive. 'Cause a lot, pick a decision, stick with it, and then if there's a problem, you move on and then address the problem during the commercial break when things have kind of settled down. But demeanor, I think, is very important. And nobody wants to work with a jerk anyway. You got to learn how to handle stress.
That is some good producer advice right there. Guys, I'm gonna open it up to you guys. What questions do you have? What do you want to know? Go ahead. Yeah.
So I always want to try something that's like not hard news. It's like entertainment, like that's like producing, directing. Should I go into the hard news first? Like set my foot into the hard news and then like I might work my way up? Is that how like I should do, or like how
that might be a good thing to do, because I feel like, you know, it's better to have a job than not have a job.
Mhm.
And most of the jobs that that are available right now are in you know, hard news. Now, if you're looking to get into more the entertainment side of things, you know, there are a lot of, you know, local news stations that have lifestyle shows, morning shows might give you a little bit of that entertainment vibe. So you might have, you know, hard news for part of it, and then you have, you know, guests coming into the studio once coronavirus is over in 50 years or whatever. then you'll have guests coming into the studio. There might be some concerts or something, so that can kind of give you a mix. But you know, same for the people who really want to be in sports. I think it's always best to broaden your horizons and to show people that you can do multiple things, because it's always easier to get another job once you have a job, and you want to get that first job so you can get that experience.
Madison, you got your hand up there.
Yeah. Hi there. So since we only really saw that one reel, I haven't actually seen a producer reel before. I want to be a producer. So I'm really confused about if I should be starting it out how like a reporter reel goes with maybe a picture of your face. Obviously you need your contact info in there, but I really like using like a picture of myself on my resume, even though that's really like an anchor reporter thing. I just think that's something that lets you know who I am before you even meet me. Would you agree with that? Where you need like to see
I
your
don't think it really matters, quite frankly, like especially for a producer. Um, I mean, I guess it couldn't hurt because if, especially if we, met in person at a career fair or something and we had, a conversation, it could help me put a face to the name. But um, I don't think that necessarily having your picture is going to help you as a producer.
Gotcha. Thanks.
No problem. And way to want to be a producer.
We tell reporters that they're probably going to have to start off in a pretty small market. But if you're a producer, my impression is you might even be able to start as production assistant or a writer in a larger market. Am I right about that?
I started in Washington, D.C., and that was Market 8 at the time. And I was able to start there because I had an internship. I interned at the NBC station my junior year of college. And then my senior year of college, I worked part-time as a production assistant. And for those of you who haven't, I don't know if internships are virtual now or, when we get back to getting regular internships, I think one of the really important things is to make yourself known. I think it's really easy when you're in an internship to kind of just hang back and wait for somebody to give you something to do. But what you really want to do is say, "Hi, I'm Andrea. Hey, I'm an intern. I go to Temple. I wrote this. Can you take a look at my writing?" Because that's one of the things that I did, and I made everybody knew that I wanted to be a producer. I'm actually an introvert, but I, had to listen to my music on my way to my internship every day to psych myself up to play the role of an extrovert, to force myself to talk to people. And that got them to notice me, and that, turned into a production assistant job, which turned into a writer job, which turned into a producer job. So I was able to start in a large market without having to move very far away.
Yeah, that's an advantage of being a producer and being so needed in these markets right now.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell you even, oh, I'm sorry. Even in New York, I maybe 3-4 months ago, I was working in New York. I just came back here to Philly. And we were constantly looking for producers and writers. And it used to be, in order to get to a market like Philadelphia or a market like New York or DC, you had to, work from small market to small market to small market to small market. People were at the number one station in New York. It was like their second job. Like they produced at a small regional station for like a year or two, and then they came as a writer. So really, producers, you guys have the advantage. Just make sure your writing and everything is polished. But I had a friend who started as a producer in Baltimore, which is another large market. You don't really have to start as small as people once did.
But you still have to start pretty small if you're going to be on air. That's just, why? You got to go and make your mistakes. You got to go and really screw it up good in a small market and then come good on the air. Trevor, why don't you open your mic? There you go.
Hello. I don't know if my thing's freezing up, but thank you guys for speaking with us. I had a question regarding my thing is I primarily do like sports and stuff. So like what I'm wondering is like when you showcase like different positions and stuff, how do you like, I guess, specify that? Because like if you just want to like show a reel of just your whole like career and stuff, how do you like, I guess, because there's so many positions that you can't like, for me at the moment, I can't like narrow down one. but like, I hope this question is clear, but like, kind of just like.
It makes sense to me. I think that, you know, whenever I'm applying for jobs, I customize my resume, my cover letter for the position. And I think you should do the same thing for your reel. So if you're applying for a sports position, you should have a sports reel. If you're applying for a general assignment reporter, you know, you have a general assignment reel, and then, oh, by the way, here at the end, I can do some sports. So you might, if until you narrow down what it is you want to do, in order, you want your presentation to match what you're applying for. Is that what you're asking? So you should have multiple versions of your reel.
Essentially, yeah, that was what I was asking. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? Professor Matt, you're teaching. Oh, who? I'm sorry. Who wanted to?
Sorry, it's Emanuela.
Emanuela, no, go ahead.
Just a quick question. So what would you say if like someone were to only have like one or no internships under their belt, but they have amazing reel? Do you think that's a problem for like getting a job in this industry? Because like for me, I only have one internship so far, but I'm, you know, like trying to get like a good reel going. So do you think it's a problem, or like or is it going to be a problem?
Well, I mean, is this an on-air position? I guess it kind of depends. Oh wait, did my computer freeze? Okay, sorry.
You're good.
I mean, it is always better to have more internships, but I don't think if you have a fantastic reel, I think that's still going to, you know, help get your foot in the door.
I mean, one reel I didn't show was Zuri Hoffman, just because we run out of time, but I think most of her reel was Temple News. I don't know if she had anything from anything else, but I mean, it was the college newscast, and it got her job. Again, I don't think you necessarily have to have an internship somewhere, as long as you can show that you've got potential and you've at least done the campus.
Right. And also seeing the Temple News stuff to me sometimes is actually better than seeing the stuff that you shot during your internship, because I know that you did it, as opposed to, all right, you went out with a professional photographer, and who knows if the reporter you were with, you know, coached you into this is what you should do, and you know, they edited it so your reel looks so shiny and pretty. I think it's, you know, if I see a great, fantastic college reel, you know that student's the one who actually did it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Madison, you still have your hand up, or is that from before? Is that?
And I'm also not saying don't use your internship stuff, but I'm just saying the college stuff is not bad.
No, I have a second question. Emanuela, you actually inspired this question, but I, this year for the summer, lost 2 really big opportunities due to COVID. Do you think that hiring managers are going to be a bit more sympathetic that I don't have as flashy of internships as I could have? Especially whenever they were always like, wait till you're going into your senior year, you'll get these opportunities. And now they're gone, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel bad saying, well, I would have had this, and this, but here's what I got. You know what I mean?
No, I think you can explain that. People understand. Like, this is an unprecedented situation. The fact that we're all sitting here, like, on Zoom, talking to each other is a testament to that. People understand.
But Madison, by the way, career experts now are saying, you know, if you want to put on your resume that you were accepted for XYZ internship, if it was prestigious, or, you know, you feel like that you could put that on your resume.
Yeah.
You would take that off if you replace it with something else, but people are putting those things because it says something about you that you were accepted.
Yeah.
For a prestigious internship.
Yeah, it was for the going to Japan to cover the Olympics.
Well,
I'm sorry.
And that's so sad.
And that's a great thing. Honestly, though, you putting that on your resume is also, you saying, hey, it was canceled because of COVID, that's
Mhm.
also going to get my attention again to say, wow, this is a great person. And oh man, I feel for her as a human being. I kind of want to give her another shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Professor
No,
Fine,
I'm
do you have
sorry that
a
happened.
question? Because I know Professor Fine, Matt Fine, is teaching so many of our students, is really in charge of Al Sports, any of the sports broadcasts here. So, any questions come up for your students for Reels?
They're always I think more so I was thinking about just some of the mistakes that they make when I talk with them. I think one of the things that they do on a on their reel and their montage is they already, like, as Andrea mentioned and as Hannah mentioned, once you see one thing done well, move on to the next thing. I don't need to see you standing there like the Statue of Liberty, more than once. If you just want to show something like that, I would, show the creativity, show the fact that you can go live, show yourself on the desk, show yourself doing a lot of different things in your montage, so the executive producer and the news director can picture you doing all those different things. So I would show your versatility. That's something that I think students don't always think about. One other thing I would think not to Madison's point, I guess to Madison's point a little bit is, even if you don't have that internship, Madison, mention that whenever you talk to somebody, mention that in an interview. I think that's really impressive. And then so we don't see it on your resume, but they'll still see it and they'll still be able to talk about it. I think that's important. So,
yeah.
But in a reel, you only have so much time to impress. Move on. Once you've gotten that hard news story, find something else. Once you've got that great stand up, find something else. Show your versatility.
Hannah, any advice? Because we're really over. We're holding on to Andrea. She's supposed to be at work.
Oh no, I was dayside today.
Oh, you're
okay.
dayside today. Oh, well then never mind.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Right. That's why I was a little late. I was reading some scripts. Okay.
Hannah, any advice to these guys who are just 2 years or a few years behind you in terms of, I'm sure they're looking at all are looking at these reels like, how am I going to get this together? What advice would you give them?
I think I would just say every single opportunity that you get, every chance that you get to do something, just say yes. Whether it's, working for like the Temple News or any student organization, just do it, because that's how you're really going to get the opportunities to tell stories and work on writing. And, if you, once COVID is over, if you get an opportunity and you think, well, I don't know, maybe I could do this. If it's going to get you further in your career, do it. That's how I ended up in South Africa. That was not part of the plan at all. And then kind of on a whim, I just went there. And that was something that when I was applying to jobs, news directors were like, wow, that's great. But even, if that's not something that you can do, I would recommend, if you want to produce, direct, report, definitely get involved with Temple Update, Temple News, because something that news directors, when I was applying for jobs, were really impressed with was that as a college student, I had things on my college reel where I was live reporting. And I didn't realize it at the time, but all of the people that I work with now, they never went live before their first job, which is where I am right now. So I already had that, experience of being live and knowing that I can't mess up. And even if I do mess up, I just have to roll with it. I can't be like, oh, okay, take two, it's live. So I think that that's something that Temple offers that you guys should take advantage of. And I guess the last thing is just don't be afraid to try something different. Try something new. There are so many times I try and do multi-part stand-ups and it doesn't work out. I bring it back and I'm like, oh God, like that looks horrible. And then I have to scrap it and do something else. But I think the most important part is just trying it, trying something new, maybe write something a little bit differently, or, if you're putting together a show or a story, maybe put a soundbite before, you just start introducing a story. Just try and be creative like that. I think that those are things that people look for and things that I try and do something different every day.
Hey, Andrea, her contract's about up. Just telling you.
Listen, honestly, we should talk. That was a fantastic. Both of those reels were fantastic. I must feel like, but just Temple, you guys just turn out fantastic people. I tell you, every intern that we have from Temple is fantastic. You guys are in a great program.
Well, we really appreciate you spending time with us. And we thank you so
Oh,
much.
it was great.
I don't want, is there a way, without imposing too much, that if someone wants to be in touch with you, or,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
show you a reel, what would be?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you my email address. It's Andrea. It's ANDREA .Berry, BERRY, like a strawberry. I always have to specify. At NBCUNI.com. And I can tell you guys also, do a lot of these things where we sit and we talk to people. Most people never follow up. So, I encourage everybody, if you're interested, send an email or send my reel, or send me a reel or whatever. Because again, most people don't follow up, and if you don't follow up, you don't make connections. So,
And
word of
Hannah,
advice.
if somebody wants to get some advice from you.
Yeah. Let's see, which email. Okay, so it's Hannah, HANNAH, and then my last name is McComsey, spelled MC, another C, OMSEY @gmail.com.
Okay, I put this both in the chat. We've also been recording this session. And Mia, you on? Mia is our administrative assistant. She's muted, but I'm going to ask. There she is! Yay!
I am
know you would
here.
go
Hi,
all
everyone.
night. Thanks, Mia, for being there.
Sure.
I'm going to ask Mia to just share this recording with all of you, so you have it. You can refer back to it if you want. Share it with your friends who need some tips. I know Professor Fine is always here. I can always look at your reel. And, if you're lucky, you have someone extra special like Andrea Berry to give you some other input. Look for those mentors. Don't be afraid. I know it's scary. So we all know it's scary to show your stuff and ask for feedback, but you have to do it. You have to do it if you want to be in this business. It's just something you kind of have to get used to, even though it can feel a little painful, but you got some good people here, some good potential mentors. So thank you all for coming tonight. The Career Center is open all summer. Appointments are open all summer. More workshops are open. So please let me know if you need anything from me, luanncon@temple.edu. Okay, good night. And Andrea, thank you. Hannah,
Oh, no problem.
thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Good night, everybody. Andrea, thank you. Really appreciate it. And she's gone. They're still there. Andrea, you still there? Someone's still waiting to come into the group.
No, I think that was Trevor. I think that he was in and then out, and then I don't know.
Yeah. Hannah, thank you so much.
Anything.
Really appreciate it. You're all grown up.
Oh my gosh. Luann, halfway through I had to go and eat. I was like, these people
I
are
saw you eating.
I was like, I am
on you eating.
I'm so hungry.
That was funny. I
think that was a good turnout.
Yeah, it was a great turnout, and we hadn't done a workshop like that before. I hope it was helpful.
I think it was.
Andrea, you still there? I don't know. You're muted. If you are.
I think that she was on her computer and her cell phone, so maybe this.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna email her though. I was about to, because she was like, "Oh yeah, we'll have to talk." I was like, "Yeah, tell Anzio I'm a free agent."
Well, yeah, they're going to probably have cutbacks.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of which, the last time I talked to Eric at GAL was probably 2 weeks ago, and he said to me,